Magandang araw! Sama-sama tayong matuto sa Teacher Sal Learning Resource Channel.
Revised K-12 Curriculum, Science 5, Quarter 3, Week 2, Friction Force. Let's play a game called Deal or No Deal to review some concepts we learned last week. It is a deal if the statement is correct, otherwise it is a no deal. Contact forces act between two objects that are not physically in contact. Is it a deal or no deal? No deal. Applied force and tension are some of the types of contact forces. Deal or no deal? Deal. Friction causes objects in motion to slow down. Deal or no deal? Deal. Bring the materials for Activity 3, Friction Racing. One member must be assigned to bring one of the following materials: a small toy car not bigger than 10 cm by 10 cm, a piece of rough cloth about the size of a long bond paper, a piece of smooth plastic about the size of a long bound paper, a piece of paper about the size of a long bond paper, a piece of hard material to be used as a ramp about the size of a long bond paper. Example given: cardboard, plywood, folder. Have you heard of the word friction? What do you think it means? Remember that friction makes moving objects slow down and stop. Now, imagine what life would be like without friction. What would happen if there were no friction on Earth? People or things in motion will not stop unless a barrier is placed before them. People or things not attached to something sturdy will slide or slip. People can't grip or hold onto things, etc. It will be challenging to live life and maintain safety without friction. Share your experiences with sliding or moving objects. What do you think causes the differences in how they move? Understand that friction helps slow down or stop moving objects. It also helps you walk, ride, and hold things. Remember, the right amount of friction depends on the situation. Sometimes you need less, and sometimes you need more. Work with your partner to complete the mind map and come up with a definition of contact force. Write at least 3 keywords related to contact force in the mind map. After completing it, answer the following questions. Match each word with the correct picture. In the first column, we have the term drag, fluid, heat, resistance, surface. And in the second column, we can find the pictures. Here are the correct answers. For subtopic 1, types of friction. Which situation in the picture A or B is safer, and why? Friction exists between two surfaces, the sole of footwear and the floor, in contact or when they rub each other. There is more friction when the surfaces are rough, but when the surfaces are smooth, there is less friction. It causes the moving objects to slow down and eventually stop. It always acts opposite the direction of the applied force exerted on an object. For example, if you push a box to the right, the table exerts friction to the left. If you push a box to the left, the table exerts friction to the right. Let's talk about the 4 types of friction: static, sliding, rolling, and fluid friction. Pay attention as each type is explained. Think of real life examples for every kind of friction and share your ideas with the class. For the type, static friction. Type of friction that acts when an object rests on a surface. The strongest type of friction between solid surfaces. Examples: a trash bin is on the floor, a book resting on a table, a parked car on a slope. Sliding friction. Type of friction that acts when an object slides on a surface. It is also known as kinetic friction. Example: a box full of recyclable materials is pushed along the floor. Rolling friction. Type of friction that acts when an object is rolling on a solid surface. The weakest type of friction between solid surfaces. Example: an empty can is rolling on the floor, a bicycle moving on a table, a shopping cart on grass, a soccer ball rolling on the grass. Fluid friction. Type of force that occurs when an object is moving through fluids, either liquids or air. It is also known as drag. Air resistance or air friction is fluid friction exerted by air. Example: a piece of paper glides as it falls, a bird flying in the air, a swimmer moving through water, a car driving in the rain. Activity number 1: the 4 types of friction. You can scan the QR code. Complete the table based on the video or your teacher's discussion. Write the 4 types of friction in the second row, the definition of each type in the third row, and give one example of a situation that shows this type in the fourth row. This table serves as your notes. In the first row, we have the type, second row definition, and in the third row, example of a situation that shows this type. The answers are given below. 4 types of friction. Name the type of friction. Identify the type of friction shown in each of the given pictures below. Write the letter that corresponds to the correct answer in the space provided. A. Fluid friction. B. Rolling friction. C. Sliding friction. D. Static friction. Number 1. A basketball is resting on the floor. 2. A soccer player slides on the ground. 3. A volleyball is rolling on the floor. 4. A skydiver is falling. Here are the correct answers. Activity 2. Name the type of friction. Match the descriptions in column A to the types of friction in column B. Write the letter that corresponds to the correct answer in the space provided before each number. Friction that occurs in gases and liquids. The weakest type of friction that occurs between solid surfaces. Friction that occurs when an object slides on a surface. The strongest type of friction that occurs between solid surfaces. For the choices, A. Static, B. Sliding friction, C. Rolling friction, D. Fluid friction. Here are the correct answers. For day 3, subtopic 2, factors affecting friction. Think, ink, share. Think about the given situation and write your answer in your science notebook. After writing, share your response with your seatmate. Situation: your school's volleyball team will practice, but it rained earlier that day. The outdoor volleyball court is almost dry, but some areas are still wet. What should the coach and the team do to ensure safety? Why? Knowing the nature of volleyball, we know that the volleyball court should be dry and not slippery when used by the players. In the given situation, they must mop the court and ensure that it is dry and free of any trash before using it. When the volleyball court is wet, there is less friction and moving around may cause players to slide. This situation demonstrates the factors that influence the amount of friction in a given scenario. Teacher's demonstration. Hold the tip of a piece of plastic and a piece of bond paper with about the same mass. For the guide questions, which material is easier to grip? What do you think is the factor that affects grip in this demonstration? Factor affecting friction. Surface texture. Create a ramp using a folder or hard paper. On the topmost part of the ramp, put a small and a heavy object that students can observe from their seat. Orient the ramp in a way that the object won't slide. Gradually increase the ramp's inclination. Try using heavier objects in this demonstration. What happens to the object when the ramp's angle of inclination is increased? What do you think is the factor that affects friction in this demonstration? Normal force. Hold a book using one hand only. Vary the area or amount of surface that you hold. Does holding more of the book's surface area compared to holding only a small area affect the grip? What do you think is the factor that affects friction in this demonstration? You're right, it is surface area. For the summary, factors affecting friction: surface texture, normal force, surface area. Under surface texture, rough surfaces create more friction than smooth surfaces. Normal force: the heavier the object and the lower the inclination of the supporting surface, the greater the friction. Surface area: the wider the surface area of contact, the bigger the friction. Activity 3. Less or more friction. Determine whether there is less or more friction given the following factors in the table. Put a check mark under the correct heading: less friction or more friction. For the factors, rough surface, smooth surface, big support force, small support force, big surface area, small surface area. Here are the correct answers. Identify the factors affecting friction in each of the situations below. A book does not slide on a flat table. A child slips on a shiny tiled floor. A trolley with wheels is easier to pull than a bag without wheels. It's better to run with rubber shoes. Here are the correct answers. Friction is high when there is a rough surface, a large support force, and a large surface area involved. On the other hand, friction is low if the surface is smooth and the object has a small surface area supported by a small support or normal force. Activity 4. Friction racing. Work with your group to investigate how different surfaces affect friction. You will use a toy car, paper, plastic, and cloth for this activity. Assign group roles. One member will handle the toy car. One will measure the distance it travels. One will set up the different surfaces. One will record the distances. One will observe and describe how the toy car moves. After completing your investigation, discuss your observations as a group. Which material will cause the toy car to go farthest? Less friction. Here is a table to be completed. Conclusion: We conclude that the material that caused the toy car go farthest is the one with the least friction, blank. Subtopic 3. Effects of friction. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Share your ideas with your seatmate for about 2 minutes. Friction can be useful but can also be harmful in other ways. Let's talk about the effects of friction. Listen carefully as we discuss each effect, and share your own examples or experiences that show how friction affects movement in everyday life. Advantages. It slows down a moving object and causes it to stop. Example, a car stops after the driver steps on the brakes. It produces heat to give warmth. A boy rubs his palms several times. It allows grip and prevents slipping. A girl is holding her water bottle. It provides traction. A soccer player wears a soccer shoes designed with studs to interact with the grass in the soccer field. Disadvantages. It causes overheating. Without proper lubrication, the moving parts inside rub against each other can cause a car's engine to overheat. It causes wear and tear. The gears in a bicycle experience friction as they rotate, leading to gradual wear and tear. It increases energy consumption. Friction between the car's tires and the road surface causes resistance, which increases the energy required to propel the car forward, resulting in higher fuel consumption. The knowledge of friction applies to machinery, operation, sports equipment design, and material handling. Machinery operation in a factory, conveyor belts are used to transport materials from one point to another. Understanding friction helps in determining the design and operation of these conveyor belts to ensure efficient operation and prevent slippage or jams. Sports equipment design. By understanding how friction affects grip and stability, designers can create shoes that enhance athletic performance and reduce the risk of slips or falls during sports activities. Material handling. Forklift trucks are commonly used for material handling in warehouses and distribution centers. Engineers design the tires and contact surfaces of the forklift to maximize traction and prevent slippage, especially when lifting loads on uneven or slippery surfaces. Controlling frictional forces and managing heat is crucial for optimizing performance, efficiency, and safety. Example, brake systems in vehicles. In automobiles, controlling frictional forces and managing heat is crucial for brake systems. Engineers design brake systems with materials and cooling mechanisms that can handle high temperatures generated by friction during braking, preventing overheating and ensuring consistent braking performance. Activity number 5, advantage or disadvantage. Read the given situations below. Determine whether friction is an advantage or a disadvantage. In the given situation, put a check mark under the correct heading. Stopping moving vehicles. Ability to walk, overheating, wear and tear of equipment, having a grip on things. Here are the correct answers. Activity 6, heat-producing friction. Rub two different surfaces together several times and observe what happens. Rub your hands together 10 times. Rub two small stones 10 times. Rub two sticks together. What happens when you rub two surfaces together several times? Is it beneficial if machine parts always rub against each other? Why? Friction converts mechanical energy into thermal energy, generating heat. Subtopic 3: Increasing and reducing friction. Have you tried opening a doorknob with wet hands? Was it easy to open or not? How can this situation be solved? In a situation like this, there are ways to increase friction to prevent slipping. On the other hand, there are also ways to reduce friction when necessary. Here are some ways to increase friction when needed. Use rubber materials. Use rough surfaces or make the surface rougher. Increasing the weight of an object. Here are some ways to reduce friction when needed. Using ball bearings, rollers, and wheels. Applying lubricants, oil, grease, or wax. Smoothing or polishing the surface in contact. Making an object aerodynamic or streamlining the shape of the body. Activity 7: Increasing and reducing friction. Identify whether the picture shows ways to increase friction or reduce friction. Put a check mark under the correct heading. For the situation: polishing, using rubber shoes, lubrication, applying grease on bicycle parts, using a push cart to transport heavy objects, wearing shoes with spikes for soccer. Here are the correct answers. Activity 8: Paint me a picture. Work in groups and draw pictures showing different situations that increase and decrease friction. After everyone finishes, your teacher will choose the best picture, and that group will earn 5 points. The group with the most points at the end will be the winner. Round 1. Paint me a picture of increasing friction on a muddy road. 2. Paint me a picture of increasing friction in sports. Round 1. Reducing friction of bicycle parts. Round 2. Reducing friction in the kitchen. Give an example of when it is necessary to increase friction. When is there a need to reduce friction? Subtopic 3: Increasing and reducing friction, Day 4. Complete the friction concept map below to summarize what you learned this week about friction. Write your ideas clearly inside the boxes or circles. Here are the correct answers. In your paper answer sheet, write T if the statement is true and F if not. Friction is not affected by the texture of surfaces. F. Using rubber shoes when running increases friction. T. Rubbing two surfaces several times produces heat. T. Friction makes it difficult to have a grip on objects. F. The smoother the surface, the bigger the friction. F. How does friction affect the motion of an object? It slows it down, it speeds it up, it makes it fall to the ground, it causes it to float. A. It slows it down. Which type of friction occurs between objects that are in contact but not moving? kinetic friction, rolling, static, fluid. The answer is C, static friction. Which type of friction occurs when an object moves through a fluid, such as air or water? Rolling, static, kinetic, fluid. The answer is D, fluid. In cooking, which technique can be used to reduce friction and prevent food from sticking to the pan? A. Applying cooking oil or butter. B. Increasing the cooking temperature. C. Using a smoother pan surface. D. Decreasing the cooking time. The answer is A. Applying cooking oil or butter. Which of the following methods is effective for reducing friction in machinery and equipment? A. Adding lubricants. B. Increasing surface roughness. C. Tightening screws and bolts. D. Applying pressure on the surfaces. The answer is A. Adding lubricants. Essay. Read and analyze the situation below. John and his cousins are eager to play basketball outside, but upon checking the court, they find it wet due to earlier rainfall. John expresses concern about the safety of playing in such conditions, but his cousins are determined to proceed. If you were John, how would you effectively explain to your cousins the risks associated with playing on a wet court? Provide a detailed explanation to convince them of the potential dangers and ensure their safety.